Guess where I'm going back to this weekend? Where? I'm going back to Atlantic City.
Oh my gosh. Is the last time you went?
Children?
When we were 16, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I hope.
The TANA Mongeau, Brooke Schofield, and now Brianna Chickenfry scandal has just about shattered your timeline, unless you've been living under a rock. Once again, the trio is facing controversy following a jaw-dropping hot take that left fans divided. This time, their target is the emerging talent Chappell Roan, who just canceled a show due to mental health difficulties. Their criticism and the hypocrisy it contained were the sparks that ignited the conflagration. After opening out about their personal difficulties with mental health, these same ladies are now criticizing someone else for doing the same thing. And come on, TANA and Brooke have been so upfront about their difficulties with mental health, but now they're mad at Chappell Roan for being independent? But wait, there's more. Brianna Chickenfry's comments on the matter added another layer of insanity, with weird and off-the-wall remarks that had fans scratching their heads. Brianna, who has had her own struggles with burnout and weariness,
bad drug addicts, and they were in super horrible, abusive relationships. So I saw a lot of fucked up shit growing up.
decided to jump on the bandwagon with her viewpoint, and it did not go down well. Let's go into how Brianna's words added to the hypocrisy, TANA's irresponsible disdain for her friend's emotional security, and how the trio's double standards are being exposed. Chappell Roan's decision to cancel a gig because of mental health difficulties was something many fans understood and accepted. Mental health isn't a joke, and many artists in the industry have had to prioritize their well-being in its demanding atmosphere. But instead of showing empathy, TANA and Brooke made comments that suggested Chappell should just push through. This is where the hypocrisy becomes clear. If you've followed TANA Mongeau for even a second, you know that her mental health challenges have been front and center of her material for years. Whether it's panic attacks, breakdowns, or needing to take time off, she has repeatedly made her followers aware that her mental health comes first, and understandably so. Everyone deserves that space. But how ironic is it that TANA, who has literally backed out of commitments and canceled projects because she wasn't in the appropriate headspace, is now turning her nose up at someone else for doing the same? Remember the innumerable times TANA has taken to her platforms to explain why she couldn't film, why she was late to events, or why she had to step back totally for her own sanity? Yet now, Chappell Roan is suddenly wrong for safeguarding her own mental health? The same goes for Brooke, who has openly addressed her mental health issues throughout the years. But here they are, fully disregarding Chappell's plight. It's not just hypocritical, it's tone deaf. Let's take a brief journey down memory lane, shall we? TANA has been extremely open about her fight with mental health, especially anxiety and sadness. Remember the controversial episode during TanaCon in 2018? After that disaster, TANA was virtually drowning in backlash. She swiftly expressed how the event's failure and the following consequences had a toll on her mental well-being. She described how she couldn't even get out of bed, let alone adequately address the matter, because her anxiety was through the roof. Mental health was the crutch for her silence and delays, and her followers were more than understanding. She even took a vacation from content creation to focus on her mental health. Brooke, too, hasn't been bashful about talking up regarding her troubles. She's been a guest on many podcasts where she's highlighted the emotional toll the social media world has had on her. Anxiety, tension, and even imposter syndrome have been themes in Brooke's content for quite a long time. Like TANA, she's used her platforms to highlight how the weight of expectations and internet celebrity can become oppressive. But the irony of it all is that Brooke and TANA are now throwing shade at another woman who has the guts to prioritize her mental health. Now let's be real. No one is arguing they haven't had genuine reasons for stepping back at various stages in their careers. But for them to blame someone else for doing what they've done repeatedly, that's where the difficulty resides. This hot take stinks of hypocrisy and completely ignores the mental health advocacy they've both espoused in the past. Just when you thought this mess couldn't get any weirder, Brianna Chickenfry decided to add her 2 cents in. And let's just say, it was bizarre. Brianna, who has made her brand of being unabashedly outspoken, decided to weigh in on the Chappell Roan situation, and her words had many people scratching their heads. Brianna has had her own fair share of mental health difficulties, notably around burnout and weariness, but it didn't stop her from making some crazily off-the-wall comments that seemed to utterly disrespect the seriousness of mental health. In a podcast appearance, Brianna seemed to downplay Chapel's mental health as just another excuse, and went on to argue that those in the public eye need to toughen up. This from someone who has talked at length about needing to take vacations from her own content creation due to the pressure of continuously being in the spotlight. So what's with the double standard? Brianna has spoken honestly about the toll social media celebrity has taken on her and how it's damaged her mental health. There's even been talk of how burnout prompted her to walk away from her usual content for a bit. And yet, she's now casting shade upon Chapel for doing the same thing. She had this to say on Plan Bri's podcast.
Oh my gosh, I hope it ends better than the
Yeah,
last
no, it
time.
totally will. I'm not going to be giving a
Yeah. You're not
something
gonna
bad
be with,
happened last time I was there. That shaped
It
me as a
was-
woman.
It was really bad.
So do with that what you will. But
And
that
that's
won't
not
be
gonna
happening
happen
this time.
again.
Because now
No.
I am a strong, independent woman who knows what she wants and will not be settling for anything less or being coerced or forced into anything else.
Yeah. Well, when you're 16, you just don't really know anything. And when you're 16, girls, if you're 16 listening to this, or play this for your daughter if you have a 16-year-old daughter, when you're 16 and maybe your mom brings you to Atlantic City, maybe you girls shouldn't hang out with the divorced men at the bar. Maybe you should go find other 16-year-olds. Maybe you shouldn't hang around older men because that's really scary and wrong, and they will always take advantage of you because...
What's even more weird is that Brianna seemed to dismiss the significance of mental health difficulties altogether, as if it's something people should just get over. This is coming from someone who literally used her platform to express how hard it was to manage the pressures of content creation with her own well-being. It's not just hypocritical, it's borderline disrespectful to someone who's actually struggling. Fans weren't having it either. Brianna's statements drew quick outrage, with many calling her out for being insensitive and entirely out of touch with the reality of mental health in today's fast-paced, high-pressure environment. The internet never forgets, and followers soon pointed out earlier occasions where Brianna herself leaned on mental health as an excuse for stepping back from her public life. So how can she now pretend like Chapel's doing anything wrong? The contradictions just keep stacking up, and this time, Brianna's strange interpretation might have taken it a step too far. But why would Brianna Chickenfry, TANA Mongeau, and Brooke Schofield utter something so ridiculous, especially when it represents a glaring contradiction in their own lives? The explanation consists of a few essential aspects that are firmly embedded in their public identities, personal experiences, and the structure of the internet. First, their brand is built on controversy. All three of them thrive in environments where pushing boundaries and speaking daring things draws attention. Whether it's through YouTube, podcasts, or social media, they've established professions out of being honest and speaking their views, regardless of the consequences. The attention created by such absurd comments is often just as beneficial as any type of positive participation. In their eyes, any publicity is good PR, and they know that even controversial statements stimulate interaction, views, and clicks. Another cause could be their disconnection from real-world repercussions. These influencers work in a bubble of fame, where the daily problems and needs of people like Chapel Roan might not resonate with them as strongly anymore. When you're at the top of the social media game, surrounded by people who revere your every move, it's easy to lose touch with what others are going through. This bubble might lead to a lack of empathy or knowledge of how their statements can harm others, even when they've encountered similar challenges in the past. There's no doubt an element of self-preservation at play. TANA, Brooke, and Brianna have all experienced the attention that comes with being prominent people. By putting the focus on someone else and criticizing their actions, they distract attention away from their own inadequacies. This deflection creates the idea that they're tougher or more resilient than someone like Chapel Roan, when in truth, they've all taken breaks or backed out of commitments due to mental health difficulties. It's a protection mechanism, a technique of portraying strength while disguising their own vulnerabilities. Lastly, it's possible they trust their own narratives. Over time, these influencers may have convinced themselves that their personal challenges are unique or more serious than others. In their eyes, people could excuse their statements by thinking they've endured tougher circumstances, and thus Chapel's actions appear as an overreaction, and their absurd utterances are likely a blend of attention-seeking behavior, emotional detachment, deflection of their own concerns, and a warped sense of self-importance that comes with living in the spotlight. What do you think is the best advice for Chapel Roan right now? Let us know in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more. Stay tuned.